fears. Downright fears. Downright fears.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Downright Fierce Gaming, America's most podcast. I'm sorry. I know that makes no sense. I had a different introduction, and I couldn't help it. Let's
keep it going.
Okay, I'm gonna retry that one. Hello and welcome to Downright Fierce Gaming, the world's greatest Persona 5 and Octopath Traveler podcast. That's something you said last week.
See you guys later.
That was Jamie's favorite thing that happened on that entire episode.
I don't remember it.
You're just like, me. You guys are all the time like, me, Persona 5 and Octopath Traveler. Or maybe that was like 2 weeks ago. I don't know.
Was that when we had the Four Horsemen on?
Yes, so yes, it was that
2
one.
weeks
so
ago.
2 weeks ago.
Believe it or not, it's not 62 weeks ago. I actually thought it was episode 124.
Yeah,
but we're not in 2020.
We're not. Oh, and I'm fucking up everything. So let's say, oh hi, my name is Josh Asensio. With me is
Christopher Donald Stanton. What's up, jabronis?
And
apparently also confirmed by the chat, most attractive member of Downright Fierce Gaming, executive producer Brian Kaminsky.
I'm still amazed that was not your girlfriend.
It is not.
No, don't get me wrong. You're very, very attractive.
Oh, well, thank you.
But I'm still amazed that wasn't just your girlfriend.
It was not. Now, she probably is listening in tonight, so, hi.
That was
hi.
Great.
That I felt the love in your hi.
She owes you one big time.
She really does. You better go home and be like, you better give it up, woman.
I gave you a sheepish hi.
I gave you the best shout out ever. All right. I'm just going to hit the button.
There's a lot of news.
It's fierce news. It's fierce news. Welcome to Fierce News. Hi. And also that timing was terrible. I watched
great
because of the delay. That's the thing. For those of you watching at home or watching with the the videos on demand, there's like a solid, what is it, like 3 or 4 second delay. Hold on. There's 1, 2 second delay. Like a 2 second delay. So it's really hard. I don't know why I snapped. I can't hear anything. But
you could see the motion.
Yeah. So, it's hard.
There's a method to his madness.
There is. Anyways, this Fierce News, of course, is brought to you by Pomade and Tonic. Def Jam Recordings recently posted on Twitter asking fans, hypothetically, who they'd like to see in a new Def Jam Vendetta game. The last one was Def Jam Icon in 2007, and that, along with the entire series, is highly regarded. And I'm thinking the problem... okay, so first of all, if they made this, that'd be amazing. I don't know if you guys played the Def Jam fighting games. Dude, they're awesome. They're highly rated. They are solid fighting games. They're fun. They're silly. Yeah. And I personally liked it. And I think the problem is going to be, if they try to make this, the biggest problem with the other games was getting the rights to the rappers and the hip hop artists, because they demanded these ridiculous things to have their likeness used in the game. And I don't remember exactly the exact stories, but I remember that some of them were talking about, they first of all, they had to be invulnerable. Nobody could beat them. And I think they asked for like superpowers and like, shooting fireballs and fatalities and Ciroc.
I was just going there. Yeah, Ciroc.
But yeah, I think that's, and probably nowadays even worse. Actually, maybe not. Now that I say that out, probably not, because people are more technologically understanding. Like they get how video games are, and they understand, like, it's not about stuff like that. You guys are just staring at me and not giving me... I'm digging myself a hole here. Well, I'd love for you to get me out.
If V is in it, I'll be fine.
Who's V?
V, like V for Vendetta. And that's what this is about, right?
For those audio listeners, I'm wrapping my nails.
Hugo weaving
on the...
The only question I would have then would be released on the 5th of November.
If it's a Friday.
I don't know. I think it'd be really cool if this game came out. So more and more news about Google's.
Well, I mean, going back to that, I mean, we did kind of no-sell that a little bit. I never personally played them, but I do remember them. I think it would be one of those things in which again, you have what I would consider the hip hop and the rap culture, where it is something that your brand is the most important thing you have.
Yeah.
And so I can easily understand why everybody would be like, no, you can't beat me. I'm the best. I'm the greatest, no matter what.
But wouldn't you also say that that's even more important in like wrestling, and yet we have wrestling games?
Well,
I mean, I understand they don't understand that it's also not like something that they can dictate. They can't say, oh, well, like I want to make sure I never get beaten because, whatever. But I mean, image is pretty important there too.
It is
that'd be more akin to boxing games. Not
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. With wrestling being predetermined, that
Wait,
is more.
it's not real?
Nah, I have something.
How
to tell you.
often? I
It's
know.
plenty real. Can't fake gravity, but
That's true.
Yeah.
But there's one entity that controls that. So there's like, yes, you can use all of our wrestlers and all of the people that we're allowed to use. They can hear me.
I know. I
right,
know.
that's
I'm just moving it up. That's all.
Yeah,
To the east side?
I don't. Yeah, I've always thought the thing was funny that there's like rappers with legitimate like turf wars and beefs and stuff, and they.
Audio listeners, go to the 4-minute mark. That was really fun.
Anything we can do to make this segment more interesting.
It's a pretty shitty way to start the news. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really regretting this. I regret everything. Okay. This is our best episode we've ever made
so far.
So more and more news about Google's preparations to enter the gaming market are surfacing. Recently, they've officially hired Richard Marks, who is known for his work on the PlayStation VR Move and iToy. Marks has joined Google's...
the guy who wrote like Right Here Waiting.
Mm-hmm. Same guy.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
Wherever you go,
whatever you do.
Yeah. It don't mean nothing.
That's... What?
Richard Marks.
That's Richard Marks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same exact guy.
So yeah, add that to his list of accolades. He has joined Google's Advanced Technology and Projects Group, ATAP. Their official statement is, quote, ATAP is at the intersection of science and application, where our goal is to solve significant problems and close the gap between what if and what is. We're super excited about Richard joining the senior team and look forward to his contributions. That is the most epic way to describe a gaming company. Like solving problems, like, I mean, I'm assuming they're talking about like mathematical problems, but it sounds like they're talking about solving world problems using video games.
I like the idea. What I really came out with that within the quote is the what if and what is. And I think that's something that in all walks of life that you have, everybody wants to go from what we have now to what is theoretically possible. When you look again, if you look at our lifetimes where, when we were all children, the idea that, oh my goodness, you could talk on the phone with somebody and see their face, but yet in those movies when we were children, it was still always in the home. And now, again, mobile phones and just all of the technological advancements that we've had, we don't have flying cars, but there have been a lot that have impacted us in a way. And I really like that aspect of the announcement, the going from the what if to the what is.
So we know they're taking it seriously because of the way they've been schmoozing all the, game companies. They've been, hiring the right people. Do you guys think that, I mean, considering that Google has the capital to fund something that is going to take a while to recoup, money. Like, I mean, consoles do not generate that much income. They really, really don't. So do you guys think they have the ability to, with the next console generation, 4 or 5 years from now, do you think that they're getting ready for that generation or the generation after that, or,
They can do whatever they want. So yes. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like they're like the second or third biggest company in the world.
Yeah.
So
I mean, of all companies to, be able to do that, I think Google is definitely,
Sure.
I agree. And then that would be one of the things now, because you look at all of the consoles that we have now, and while we have the gaming for it, one of the things that with the previous generation of consoles that was so big was the ability to have the apps for all of the different things, video streaming services, audio streaming services, and
integrated services. I mean, and they offer so many that to be able to integrate that into a console, I mean, it's just
Absolutely.
Again, and if they wanted to really start going back to the Def Jam Vendetta, a turf war about it, say they have their own console, but that's where YouTube is.
Right.
You know, I mean, that might not be the best marketing strategy for them, but if they could find a way to offer something exclusive. So now with YouTube Premium, you know, you get that if they would potentially have a console. I could see that as opposed to being with another console. But it is something that I agree, you know, who would have thought with the PlayStation, Sony just, you know, entering the market, and they've done a fantastic job.
I'd even say Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft, I mean, they came, you know, they came into the game after both, you know, Sony and Nintendo are competing, and I mean, I definitely didn't take them seriously, and they did a really smart move of grabbing up a developer that had only, like, I think one game, and I forgot what it was called.
Before Halo?
Before Halo, it was
I'll think of it.
something with a C, right? Covenant?
No.
That's a Halo game.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
Scribe, help us out here. It's something with a C. Construct?
No.
Anyways, so yeah, I'm pretty sure they just had that one game, and they're like, hey, make a game for our system, and that became the system seller. And I think without Halo, Microsoft wouldn't have had anything. So can Google find their Halo? Can they find their, or even their niche that would make people go, oh, I want to buy your console, and not make it another, you know, what is it, Ouija or Ouya or something? What is that?
I don't know what that is.
The app console. I always forget what it's called. But anyways, I think...
I do think they could do it. And just on name alone, I think enough people would be willing to give them a chance. And as long as they're smart enough about it and have one type of iconic game, it doesn't have to be... They would
need something new and fresh and system selling.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be revolutionary, but it just has to be something that intrigues people enough to give it a shot. People are curious.
So... you know, something in what you said kind of made me realize something. You said it doesn't have to be revolutionary, but in a sense, I think it kind of does, because the reason why people go to Microsoft and they go to PlayStation and Nintendo is because they know what to expect. They know what's in the future. You buy a Nintendo console, you know you're going to get a Mario game. You know you're going to get a Link game. You know, you have a certain expectations with these consoles. So with Google, there's nothing that they could promise you the moon, but you're going to sit there and be like, I'll just wait until something good comes out.
Though, on the other side of the coin, developers, there's already an install base of users for those systems already. So with Google, it's like, why would I, yes, you're Google, that's great, but like, why would I develop for this new thing that you have just for that when there's literally not one has been sold and there's no track record of anything being sold yet? So.
I think there would need to be some kind of feature, some kind of, and I'd even say revolutionary feature that would make people go, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna get that. Also, Thomas Bose says hello. Hello, Thomas.
I mean, unless they figured out a way that like to incorporate like Google, is it Google Glass?
The augmented reality stuff.
Maybe.
See, I think that would be a little bit too far. You know, a little bit too weird. Not weird, but like a little, because everybody's been working on augmented reality technology, and we're so not there yet. We are absolutely not. So, and there's not enough implementations of that kind of technology in the gaming market, I'd say. I mean, there could be things like
motion controls either.
That's true.
I mean, and then 20 million Wii's sold.
Yeah. I mean,
and it was still a pretty crude, like, I can play tennis. Like, all you're doing is swinging a racket. You're not running around. You're not controlling them running around.
So it may not, you know, it does have maybe not necessarily to me, it's still not necessarily the revolutionary thing. It might be the niche. Because again, going back to the Wii, because I don't know if it is now, but for most of that generation of consoles, it was the best selling console, which so many people find surprising because Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, that's what everybody played. But no, the Wii was accessible to everybody. That's what it was. It could be another instance like that. Would the Google system be accessible to everybody? And you know, it's definitely the dichotomy of the two, where I know that myself personally, I would still be a little bit skeptical. But if it offered me more things, not necessarily as the hardcore gamer, but offered me more of that integrated content, like the apps and things like that, and found a way to, you know,
incorporate home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's like, it's a speaker next to you that you can like literally shout commands to, like say it's a squad based game, instead of pushing the left bumper or whatever, you can be like, tell whoever to throw a grenade or whatever. Like, I mean, you can do that with a headset now, but like people find more reason to go, I spent $100 on this thing, and I've got this console, and they work together, and I don't know. I can
And
just
you know,
totally
maybe
see
even
that
have
working.
a tablet, because you know, with Chromecast, you know, you can have a tablet or any kind of second screen nearby, and it's all connected. I mean, I think that's what it'll be. And on top of that, though, I don't think that would be enough. I think on top of that, it would need to be some kind of, like Mark says in the chat, you know, cloud gaming standard. You know, if they have it to where it is cheaper than all the other consoles, because first of all, I think Google would need to take some kind of hit, and I think that would be, I think that would be the best way to do it. Is say, okay, so the current gen is 300, we're selling ours for 150, and a lot of the power is done through cloud-based, you know, things and stuff. So a lot of the computations are done over the cloud, which Google has a pretty fucking awesome cloud. So a lot of the computation is done there. So you actually have a less powerful box doing equally powerful things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the price point. Mostly, again, you know, if you release it around the holidays, what are mom and dad gonna buy? The one that's cheapest.
Yeah. And now Mark says Google is great at advertising platforms, but terrible at self-marketing. Good luck getting devs on board. I don't know, Mark. I mean, they were at E3. They're going to all the. I mean, they're visibly, you know, they're not trying to be sneaky either. They are going around and they are talking to everybody. They are, you know, I mean, and that's the thing. You can't just come onto the gaming scene and try to do your own thing without any of the developers. You need to schmooze Bethesda. You need to schmooze all these other people and say, hey. Excuse me, you say, hey, here's what we're about to do. You know, let's work on this together. And it's going to take a huge investment, but I think they can pull it off if they do it right. Or it's going to cost them an insane amount of money and be one of the biggest failures. So it's either going to be the greatest thing you've ever done or the worst thing you've ever done.
And even if it does cost them an insane amount of money, at the end of the day, they can take it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it might end up going down as one of the most colossal failures of all time, but they can. They're one of the few companies that could do it.
Yeah, it feels very familiar to Microsoft in 2000 before they released the Xbox. I wonder how long it took Microsoft to make their first penny off of the Xbox.
And I bet people were saying the same thing about Microsoft. Like, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Yeah, I harken back to those days, and I think the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so moving on. I got a question for you guys. What do you call the Nintendo Entertainment System?
NES.
NES.
Okay.
Or Nintendo.
Did you know?
Okay.
Did you know that up until recently, there's been no even hint at the proper pronunciation of the Nintendo Entertainment System? It's either some people say NES, some people say NES.
I don't like those people at all.
And there's been no like confirmation. Nintendo's never been like, hey, by the way, it's NES or it's NES.
The only other one that I've heard more where it's something pronounced is I've heard a lot of people, and I say SNES, or actually more often than not, I call that Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah. I've heard some people call it the SNES.
That's
SNES. I've heard that, and
I don't like
throat.
Yeah, Thunderhump on our Twitch says NES. So here's the thing.
Oh, hi, Luke.
Yeah, it's Luke.
We're about to have. We're about to have our live shattered.
Of all places to learn how Nintendo pronounces it, WarioWare Gold may have finally been the one to reveal it. In a museum section of the Japanese version of the game, you can unlock some slides showcasing the Famicom. Also included is a picture of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Within the description, it says, Nintendo pronounces it NES.
It's awful.
Nintendo officially pronounces it NES.
No, I'm not doing it.
I'm just saying that's the proper pronunciation of that word.
Does
it's
that
not
make the
quesadilla.
character?
It's not quesadilla. It's quesadilla. How do you guys feel about that? Even though I already know how you feel about that.
I feel indifferent about it because it's again one of those things where if that's what you want to call it, it's entered our lexicon. We know it is what we know it, and we're gonna say it is what we know it. And me being an English teacher who is one of those people who sometimes will, and I don't have a monocle or a hat, so I'll do the Jacob and do my grammar with my monocle. The correct pronunciation of the word I know is caramel. I'm saying caramel.
Okay.
So, I think it is something that is...
You said caramel?
Yeah.
There's people that say caramel. That drives me nuts.
I go back and forth.
I say caramel.
I go both ways.
Every time.
And that's why you're in the center.
I go both ways. Caramel. Depends on the sentence.
But for me, you know, I'll look at the bright side.
I'm sorry.
Not my.
That, you know what?
Sorry, I saw Mark's comment. It says hashtag not my pronunciation.
I like it.
And that's another one. I say pronunciation sometimes. Pronunciation.
Yeah.
I got a coworker that says scenario. Drives me nuts.
My mom says salmon. She's Hispanic though, so.
Depends
Also,
on the
Haley says hi.
scenario.
Hello, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
That is my girlfriend.
Yeah, we got.
Yes.
Oh.
So
We're Facebook friends.
oh, okay.
Watch out!
The only thing I will say is that for continuity's sake, and just me looking at this from a very what's the word I'm looking for? Just surface level standpoint. You have the character of Ness. It can be something that ties in with it. And if that's the way they wanted to go with it, even if it was something that wasn't intentional, you know what? I can understand why the company would want to pronounce it that way so that it is Ness. But I still, to this day, I will always just say NES or Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you feel the same way?
100%.
Okay. All right, well, that's the NES news. Don't run away. Do not run away. Just stay here, Chris, okay? It's very, very quick news about Octopath Traveler. I'm not going to talk much about it. It's a great game. I love that game so much. Whatever. It's
Cool.
fine. Just really quick news. It broke a million units sold globally, including eShop. That's awesome. Considering how great the game is, I'm really happy about that because that means we're probably going to get another one or at least games like that style, and I'm really happy about that. That's it. Are we cool? Are we cool?
Neat.
Are we cool? Are we good?
Yeah, it's great.
You're not running away, right?
Nope.
Please don't leave me. Okay.
I didn't get to play it after we were saying from the 2 weeks ago episode, and I won't have time.
We're past it. We're past it.
Okay.
Let's travel past it.
Sorry.
Let's keep going.
Squash match.
Yep.
So according to Crackdown 3's managing director Paul Porter, Crackdown 3 is, quote, pretty much done. It's my favorite description of a game's progress ever. It's pretty much done now. Brian, I don't know if you know about Crackdown 3's progress, but they've been working on it forever. They've been, it disappeared for like 3 years, and we didn't hear from it, and then all of a sudden it popped back up again, and it was underwhelming. This game it's kind of sounding a lot like Duke Nukem Forever.
Okay.
Like just a lot of build up for a big disappointment. Now, in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, he said, quote, as you know, the release date's moved back, confirmed as February next year. And that's great news because it gives us time to polish a game that's pretty much done, but making it better and better. The way to make the best games is you finish them, then finish them again, and then finish them again. That's what we're doing with Crackdown 3. Now, I definitely
it's a
can't say...
WrestleMania main event. You have to have 3 finishers.
Well, I definitely... I don't know anything about making games. That's fair. But I think that this is pretty much a universal truth, right? Like, I mean, what food isn't made better by cooking it, then reheating it, then reheating it, and reheating it again?
Yeah.
Where would the Mona Lisa be if Da Vinci didn't paint it, then paint over it, then paint over it again? I mean, where would this joke be if I didn't tell it, then retell it, and then retell it again? Huh?
That was clever.
I like that one.
I had a lot of fun writing that.
I can tell you did.
But seriously, that sounds completely ass backwards.
Oh, God.
What the fuck? Like, that's not... If it's finished, it's done. You don't get to finish multiple times. Like, he's not a woman. Like,
Clever.
that one was off the top of my head. But seriously, like, when a game's done, it's done. You don't... Like, I understand polishing up, like, okay, hey, we're really happy that we got a February release, so that way it is done, but we're just gonna polish it up. But the way he's sounding, it's sounding like he's like, we finished it, and then we looked at him like, you know what? Oh, what if we just did this different? And then, I mean, that's what happened with Duke Nukem. That's exactly what happened.
It's gonna tank.
You think so?
Yeah.
That sucks too, man, because it's...
Yeah.
I love Crackdown. I didn't like the second one, but this whole cloud-based gaming destruction thing that they were doing sounded really cool. For those of you who don't know, the game was going to feature online destruction in multiplayer maps that are so complicated to render that it would use cloud-based computations to like render them and do all that. Even though it's cel shaded, which I don't understand how that works, but still, like, that sounded really cool. It just sounds like this game's gonna come out and it's gonna be like a 6 or 7, which is still good. I mean, it's still good. But games like these can't really be 6s, 7s. Like,
Just
you
looks
spend
so
much.
dated.
does.
It's one of those things that this is rhetoric 101 where, like you said, when pretty much done, but take a look. It's not something that you can constantly keep tweaking. The more you tweak it, the worse it becomes. When you fiddle with it too much, it actually becomes worse. And that's what I'm getting from this. And even though I'm not knowing a lot about it, just coming from your reading of the synopsis, it doesn't interest me whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, how many, soups aren't made better by having so many cooks working on the broth?
100%.
Yeah.
Isn't there an expression where it's like, oh, the best soup in the world has a lot of cooks working on that broth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then Mark says, meanwhile, Blizzard is like, we will be done when we're done. Deal with it. Also, we broke all your shit. All right, so moving on. The Spyro Reignited Trilogy is going to be released on September 21st for PlayStation and Xbox One. There's something I noticed, though, that they mention and they're not really focusing on, but I am. They're saying that 2 out of 3 of the games will not be on the disc and will need to be downloaded. First of all, why? This is a remake of a really old game. How are you not able to fit this on a Blu-ray?
No clue.
No,
not at all.
Second, that means you only get one game if you buy a used version. So I bought Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remaster, and I bought it used, and I only got the for the Vita, and I only got Final Fantasy X because the X2 was download only. You get like a download code. So, I mean, I kind of missed out on that, and that sucked. And I realized if this is a trend that continues, that's how these companies destroy the used game market. Yep. You have a component that has to be downloaded, and if it's not downloaded, you either don't get the full experience or, whatever. And that would really fucking suck.
Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's capitalism at its finest.
And I love capitalism, but not when it affects me like this.
Well, it's at that point that you say you can't have it both ways.
But I want my cake and I want to eat it too.
You do.
And I learned what that actually meant like a year ago. I never understood it. I'm like, why can't you have a cake and eat it too? Like, why do you only get to look at the cake? What? I didn't understand it. Do you get the expression? Have your cake and eat it too?
I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah. That's the thing. I never broke that down. What it means is you can't have I can't have this water and drink it too, because once I drink it, then I don't have the water anymore. It's gone.
It's a weird expression.
Yeah.
It's an expendable resource.
This is spiraling out of control.
I didn't mean to drag on so long. Yes! Don't have a pun now! Okay. Just with the puns now! Let's talk about Spyro! Oh, that was too many syllables. Damn. I fucked it up. Okay. So clickbait article. Go! You won't believe what the highest selling console in June was. Click here to learn more. Guess what the highest selling console in June was?
Switch.
Wrong.
Okay.
I want to say like the PS2.
No. Close. You're closer.
Yeah, like
The NES Classic.
Oh, wow.
The NES Classic was the highest selling console in June. So first of all, it's a strong period of growth for the industry, with spending across hardware, software, and accessory sales up 25% from 2017. That's just good news for the industry. And according to an NPD report, quote, the NES Classic...
you're doing this.
The NES Classic was June 2018's highest unit-selling hardware platform, while the PlayStation 4 led the market in dollar sales. This is the first time a Nintendo Entertainment Console has led in monthly unit sales since NPD tracking began in 1995.
That can't be true.
That's what they said.
Because the Wii was outselling, that can't be true. The Wii was outselling everything for a while, but whatever.
Monthly unit sales. I don't know.
Unless
that's
the
what they're
Wii
saying.
just had a lot stronger monthly that it kept selling.
No. You know what it was? It was the Wii may have been selling out, but that doesn't mean that the shelves were stocked with as much as a Sony console. So it was harder to get.
There still might have been more PS2s being sold at the time too.
This is NPD, so I feel like of all people to know.
They might.
I feel like they're the authority on that. But do you think that means now? Okay, so Nintendo and a lot of experts are saying Nintendo's not saying this, but experts are saying we're not going to see an N64 Mini because that is what they're going to they're not going to have the virtual console, but they want to save that for for their online thing or whatever. Do you think that this means though that we'll see different versions of the NES Classic or the SNES Classic, or any other, maybe a Virtual Boy Classic? That'd be awful.
I don't know. I've been right so far on everything with regards to the NES and Super Nintendo Classic. Like as far as like you guys a year ago, like, I don't think they're going to release anymore. I don't think
You're right. You
I think we're definitely getting an N64 Classic.
Really?
100%.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be this holiday season.
Yeah.
But
these numbers will. I mean, they lend to that. I don't think it's a bad idea. So
everything old is new again right now, and exactly with where our ages are, and we're getting to the point again with Chris having young children. You want to raise them like what you were raised on, and it was that 8-bit Nintendo that taught you frustration, patience, and things like that. And that's what we harken back to. And going back to those types of games, I absolutely can see other editions, potentially an N64 Classic. But I absolutely, in my opinion, with the vast library that the NES has, I definitely see other editions coming out.
Hopefully. All right, moving on to Capcom. They're pretty confident about the Resident Evil 2 remake that is coming out in January next year. God damn it, there was a segue there. I could have totally... Speaking of classic games... So the remake is coming out in January next year. Capcom says they anticipate Resident Evil 2 to be one of its major releases for this fiscal year and for it to be in the million-seller range. They went on to say that, quote... Paper. God damn it. Hold on. There we go.
They say quote paper.
They say quote paper.
I choose rock.
Quote further regarding remakes and re-releases of titles in our back catalog. We expect to explore these further with a variety of properties as part of our strategy to utilize our library of IP. So I kind of agree with them. I think the remake is going to be, I mean, especially from what people have seen of it so far, it is going to be
got a massive reaction at E3.
Yeah, it's going to be solid, and I agree. I think it's going to be the million, selling range, especially if they treat it like they did Resident Evil 7. My question, though, is, if they're going back to their back catalog, what Capcom games would you like to see remade or have a sequel? Now, I've got a list of Capcom games if you need some. Okay, so we got Bionic Commando.
I already got my answer. I already saw it.
What is it?
Power Stone.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go down the list and
help me out here because I know a few Capcom games, but
so it's gonna be also things like Mega Man and Street Fighter and whatnot.
Yeah.
But going down the list, I picked out the games that were my favorite and also ones that were well known. Bionic Commando.
They did that though.
I know they did that, but I would love to see that done again. And I want it to look like Horizon Zero Dawn. Did you play Bionic Commando? Either of you?
I didn't.
The newer one?
The remake, yeah.
The 3D one,
I
yeah.
played the demo.
It was fun, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but like in the Horizon Zero Dawn universe. That'd be fun. Dark Void, that's the game that like nobody ever talks about. It was just a good game. That wasn't a great game. Where you have the jetpack and
Yeah,
you're
that was
flying
the one
around
that was
stuff.
I can't remember
It's
perspective. So a different perspective.
third person.
No, but it was like you're flying up or something the whole time, right?
No. It's like it's open world and you like fly around.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, Thunderhump says Contra. I'd be down for some Contra.
That's not Capcom.
Isn't it?
It's Konami.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Konami.
Yeah, Konami code. Dead Rising. Now, I mean, we're already getting our remakes and all the stuff of that.
I played that series and I have all of them.
I would be down for like a God of War treatment. Like let's just let's restart the series and just kind of take it into like a more serious even direction.
Something with that. I enjoy it enough. What I really like that they got away from, I love the mechanic of you have a real-time decision and you can't save everybody, that they kind of got away from in the later games.
They did? Nah.
Yeah. Because I played 4. It was fun to play, but at that point it just it just became hack and slash. It's just like kill as many zombies as you can in whatever you're playing with. And I think there is a mode where you can bring that back, but for a first playthrough and what it is, okay. Like I played 2. I think 2 to me was the best combination of it, where you got the combo weapons and also had that time sensitive quest. And that was one of the first games where I was going, okay, I can't save everybody. I've got to choose who I want to do, and those type of real-ish ethical choices make it something like that. So maybe a reimagining of that with a little bit of a nuance to it. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. There's also Dino Crisis. Be down to see that one again. Dragon's Dogma. Now they made the remake, or not remake, a remaster. I feel like that deserves a sequel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, so actually, I think it was Lewis even on this podcast was the one who introduced me to it. It is kind of like a Dragon's Age Inquisition and that kind of gameplay, with the exception of one mechanic that is just the coolest thing ever. You can jump on like any enemy and hold on, kind of like Shadow of the Colossus style, and attack them from the top. And that alone is just, it makes everything so much fun. It's really really cool. Like there was this like Hydra that was tearing up this town, and I was on top of this tower, and I decided to climb on. Actually, no, I think I spawned up there. But anyways, so it's coming up, and I'm like, shit, it's gonna crash in the tower. It's gonna crash in the tower. So I go to jump on it, and as I jump on it, it crashes into the tower, destroying the tower, and I'm flying through the air. I'm like, God, I want this to work. Please, God, work. And it did. And I freaking climbed on it, and I'm just like flopping around.
That's cool.
I'm like, fuck, this is so epic. And it was fun. So
Like you riding a Paraton?
Like me riding a Paraton. Hashtag D&D. God Hand. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who knows about God Hand. God Hand, nothing. It was this PlayStation 2 game that was so much fun because you can create your own combos. So it would give you like this long list of things you could do. So like elbow, punch, kick, or whatever. And you can string them together however you want. And it would affect your damage. It would affect, the different things you do. So if you hit, if you set up for square, triangle, X, the triangle stuns them and the X does extra damage when they're stunned or something. And it was so much fun, but nobody ever knows about that game. I've wanted to do it for 20 questions for the longest time, but nobody knows about that game.
I'm glad you haven't.
It's so
Very much glad you haven't, but
Lost.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I'm just saying from what you're saying, it sounds, again,
I mean, there's not hardly any games like that today.
Yeah.
I can't think of any.
makes you personalize it too to your fighting style.
And it's silly as fuck too. It's very, very silly. Yeah. Lost Planet. There's
Good
a game
game.
we haven't, heard about in a while.
That's a good game.
Yeah. I think, okay, so what do you think? Would that be good for a remake?
There's three of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they could do like a
remake or a fourth.
probably a remake.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing mostly just because it's been long enough, because that was 360 and I feel like it's been too long to where people like they kind of forgot about it, and maybe even a lot of people missed it. So if you make a fourth, then I mean, I didn't play past 2, so I don't know what's happening, and I'd be less inclined to buy that as I would a just Lost Planet, whatever, just Lost Planet. That's what it is,
Right.
Planet of the Lost or whatever. Call it whatever you got to call it. Monster Hunter, they're making remakes, they're doing all that stuff. Okami.
They did that.
Okami, they did the remake. Maybe sequel? Power Stone? You want to see a sequel?
I want to see. Give me HD remake of Power Stone 1 right now.
Yeah.
I'll buy it for $50.
Resident Evil, we know what they're doing with them. And then Street Fighter, they're still working on that. So, okay. Now, before I go over the story, okay, that's right. I was just going right in the script and not even performing it. Let me perform it. So this next story.
Take 2.
I want everybody to remember in chat, you guys, let's not forget how stupid every generation is. Okay? There's so many stories out there, and on Facebook, people are like, look at these millennials, look at these kids nowadays. They're doing this and they're so stupid. Dude, every generation is into their stupid shit.
Absolutely.
We bought overpriced cardboard pieces and played a game that made absolutely no sense. And people are like, it's gambling.
I made a ton of money doing it though.
And we had a generation of people who were obsessed over digital pets and would freak out if our digital pet died. We were all into really stupid shit. So
we also had a generation of people who bought rocks as pets.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So, and big Billy Mouth Bass.
Oh,
remember that?
Yes, I do.
There's a lot of
That one.
stupid. Sorry. There's a lot of really stupid things that people have done in different generations. Let's just remember that the story is still interesting. According to a Wall Street Journal article, parents across the world are starting to pay tutors to help their kids develop skills at Fortnite.
I heard this. Yeah.
Now, yes, that's stupid. No, that doesn't make this generation of kids the dumbest generation. But how do you feel about parents spending money to have their kids develop skills in a game? I mean, like, because I remember, like, my dad, you know, I mean, we got Mortal Kombat for Sega, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna get you the strategy guide, and I want you to memorize all these moves because this game is really expensive, so you have to get the most out of this game, and I want you to study this, you know, study guide. I'm like, hell yeah, that sounds cool. You know, and I feel like if I grew up in this generation, he might have done the same thing. He's like, hey, look, you know, you've spent like $50 in this game, $100 in this game with all the aesthetics and stuff. You need to get good at it because, you know, I don't want this money to go to waste. So I'm gonna get you a tutor or something. Like, is that stupid? Is that silly? Is that like, how do you guys see that?
I mean, I'd want to know like how the kids' grades are.
Yeah,
that's just the parent in me. But dude, we live in a world now where like it's completely logical for a parent to be like, man, if my kid gets really good at this game, and if I spend $1,000 at my kid getting good at this game, and then my kid kind of has a little bit of a personality and knows how to market themselves online, like my kid could be 16 making 50 grand a month playing video games that people watch him play.
Well, let me just throw in something real quick. Half the reason is for stuff like that, but then the other half is parents are saying they don't want their kid to be like mocked and made fun of because of how bad they are.
Well, that's ridiculous.
And I'm exactly within line with that. But
I mean, as far as an investment, I mean, like literally, like, I mean, it sounds crazy, but like, you know, I mean, Tiger Woods' dad at some point was like, I'm going to spend a lot of money on my kid playing golf.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do. I mean, I don't recall. I think he went to college.
He did.
But yeah, so like, but even then he was...
I think maybe for a year or two. I'm not sure.
So, I mean, like, now there's a huge...
Oh, yeah, he went to Stanford.
There's a huge difference between like, I see potential in my kid as a gamer. I mean, that could also lead to being a developer. That could also, you know, it does sound crazy, but not as crazy as it would have 5 years ago.
It's one of those things where it's now where you look back and, you know, you'll say everything with the previous generations, but think about how many parents want to, as an athlete, because they couldn't accomplish something or they got injured or they rode the bench, how they want to live vicariously through their child in that sport.
So we have a whole bunch of parents who really wish that they could have done something in Halo. And now they want their children to succeed in Fortnite.
Like Jonathan is 6 years old. He loves Five Nights at Freddy's. He loves Bendy and the Ink Machine. He loves, you know, Dan TDM? He loves Dan TDM. Okay, Dan TDM is a British dude that all he does is plays games like Minecraft on YouTube. And he literally, like, he played Daly's Place in front of like 10,000 people to come watch him play video games. Like, so my 6-year-old, my 6-year-old knows who developed Five Nights at Freddy's. He knows who Gabe Newell is. Like, it's insane. He shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying he shouldn't be allowed to. I'm just saying like
no, but it's
a
different
niche
from
knowledge.
So my point is like there's us growing up. You know, my dad growing up, it was Mickey Mantle. You know, me growing up, it was Hulk Hogan or whoever. Like, this is the new celebrity. This is the new, like, I mean, this is where people go to for their entertainment, for their, you know, you don't need to be Jay Leno or David Letterman anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I don't know, it's just completely different.
So I think that's where, you know, I kind of land on this, is that I think that it's not ridiculous to pay for your kid to get good at a game that they enjoy, because we have things like golf tutors and whatever tutors. The only difference is that this is a fleeting game. This game will not be cool in, you know, let's say just 5 years or whatever, you know, arbitrary number, but in at least 5 years, this game's going to be gone. And all these skills that they developed may translate to other games as well, but specifically, you know, this is a fleeting trend, which is why this is weird news. If it was a video game tutor, like helping them develop their just general video game skills, then I think that is a little less weird, just because this is something that is not going away. You know, video games are, you know, skills are the same, if you know, just if completely different from any other skill that you could develop. It is just a skill.
I might go into that, and here's what I'll say about that. With Fortnite specifically being a battle royale game, I think that the game itself is somewhat fleeting. and I agree with you on that, but I think the style might endure a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely it will.
And
Absolutely it will.
I'm gonna liken it to something that I think we all maybe have experienced a little bit ourselves. 2003, I want to say, or 2004, Chris Moneymaker winning the World Series of Poker. And a lot of people, myself included, all of a sudden, boom, I'm becoming an online poker player. And I was in my dorm at college, and every night we gathered around, and we didn't even play for money, but we were playing poker, and we all thought that developing those skills was kind of the next big thing. Now, you look at television after that, there were so many poker tournaments on, and I watched them, and I got into Rounders, and I went to Vegas.
Rounders is a good movie.
It is a very good movie. But, you know, now we look 15 years after the fact, okay, it's not as big as it once was, but it's still big. So again, and I see what and I see what Mark's saying in the chat about some of those skills will be useful in other games. I think that might be something along the lines of it too. It might be useful in a battle royale, a first-person shooter type game.
Fortnite's definitely different from other battle royales, but I do think that it will. You know, there are. I was good at PUBG because I've played shooters before. Like I have developed those skills over like my entire life. I've been not my entire life. I wasn't baby playing, but I mean ever since I was at least 7, I've been playing video games and I've developed those skills that way. But yeah, I think that it's okay.
I think it's like two things. One, if
it sounds silly,
if you're a parent, like when I played baseball for 10 years, like my dad wasn't seeing dollar signs. He was like, this is something my son likes to do, and I'm gonna support that. And if I wasn't hitting the ball very well, I'd go to the batting cages or whatever, and I would so I would learn that way. Now, caveat to that was like I had to have good grades, like I had to have everything else, and it didn't occupy my 100% of my time. But the flip side of that, all the different things we've mentioned, comparing this to, there's one huge separation, is you're not physically interacting with other people socially. You're doing it over a microphone, where a lot more people are, I guess the bullying or the hazing or the trash talking is going to be way more than you would say an 8-year-old on a baseball field. But he's also going to be around 12 other kids. He's going to be around 4 or 5 other adults that are teaching them less, you know what I mean, like responsibilities and things point, like so that would be the biggest thing for me, is like oh, my kid never grew up like having after school activities, physically interacting with other people,
going outside and stuff. Sure. They do have Switch for they have a Fortnite for Switch now, so now they can go outside and play Switch.
Well, I mean, and I want to jump on that as being somebody in the teaching field where I see that. It's interesting because a high school setting has changed a lot, whereas when we look back at the 80s movies of what bullying was, it was somebody picking on somebody and beating them up for their lunch money and making fun of a different physical trait or something, but they did it right then and there, and they did it sneakily. Now it's all online. Everything is done through social media, and the worst part about that compared to what it was, if I said something to you and maybe the class laughed at it, and you're going home and thinking the entire class thinks that I'm some whatever insult I threw at you, at the end of the day I just said it there, and it will be forgotten about in a week when the next big thing comes on.
It goes away. But
now it's social media, it's permanent.
But you also have to physically face that the next day, right? Like you're dreading it, but there's a positivity to that dread, though. There's like it's a callousing of it. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I loved when Cobra Kai got released.
Such a good show.
It was, and the line that I remember from it, and I actually told it to some of my students because I empathize with them about the plights they go through. It's terrible because people say terrible things and they're not accountable for them. And basically one of the lines Johnny says to one of the people who's being bullied, because that's the spoiler, kind of the switch thing about it, is that he says, why are you afraid of those people? When I was in school, when we bullied somebody, we had the courtesy to do it to their face. And that's kind of in a way, I know it sounds like a terrible thing to say, but there's an accountability that I feel isn't there. And we're a little bit off topic now.
I was gonna say, yeah, we gotta wrap it up because
but it just does go to show, I think, even me, somebody who is in the education field, looking at somebody paying for video game tutoring, I think there is a slight bit of merit to it. I would fully 100% agree with Chris. It's got to be grades first. Like, and I'm not saying straight A student or anything like that. As long as
just not if you're struggling.
If you're passing and you're still doing what you need to do, you do your assignments.
You're within where you should be.
Exactly.
If you're a dumb kid, yeah, okay, you're getting C's, whatever.
Yeah, but well, not necessarily. Yeah. I see what you're saying with that, but. If that's what you want to do, like you said, if it was baseball and going to the batting cages, if this is the Fortnite equivalent of going to the batting cages and parents are spending on that, you know what? That's their decision. That's the parents' decision to spend their money on that to make their kid, what they want them to be in their parenting style.
Okay. All right, now we're going to move on to what we've been playing. I have been playing PC. I'm going to actually... Brian, can you grab the clipboard and the papers on top of that? Can. I've been playing PC Building Simulator, and I have never felt so nerdy in my entire life.
Just to clarify, like when you first said that earlier, I thought you were building buildings, like it's a PC building simulator.
Oh, no.
PC building.
I'm building PCs. Like I'm building PCs in this game, and you run this shop. I've talked about it on the podcast before. You run this shop, and... you order parts and you fix things and you upgrade people's computers. I've gotten so into this game. Look at this. I've
got
fine. Price sheets and 3D Mark scores for all the different graphics cards and CPU. And I mean, I've got pages of like notes. This is where I keep track of my stock that I have, in my inventory. And then I have this clipboard, that I write notes on each case. And I put the budget on there and all these things. I've realized this is both the saddest and most rewarding thing I've ever done because it feels so good to exercise my brain. And with a real that was loud for some reason. With a realistic simulator that I'm accomplishing nothing. I mean, I'm not doing anything, but it's fun. I don't know, and I love it so much.
Can I point out a caveat to that?
Yeah,
you're in essence managing a business.
Yeah. Which I do outside of
right, and that might be one of the reasons that you find it enjoyable.
Yeah,
but somebody playing that is going to learn organization. Somebody playing that is going to learn the aspect of working on a task for a profit and what they have. Does it also do things like you set prices and like how much to?
Well, sort of. So no, they give you their offer. So they'll be like, hey, here's I'll give you $500 if you can upgrade my PC to this. And you look at what they need and you look at your inventory like, oh, actually I have this CPU that's a high powered CPU that I got off of a guy who wanted to upgrade his CPU. So I ordered him a new part and I kept his old CPU. Now I can put this and that.
That sounds awesome.
And it's actually like it's not going to cost me anything. So yeah, sure, I'll take your $500 and just put an old part in there.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep my inventory.
You should just start a business.
And that's what Mark Mayfield says is that Josh is going to have a PC repair business in real life next. I posted on Facebook. I posted in other places. I'm offering people if they want anything fixed or upgraded on their computer, I will just work for tips. Like I love it so much that I totally would, except for the fact that I don't think it's as enjoyable as it is on the computer. Like I've worked on computers. I know, I've got a part coming in, a brand new case. I'm going to tear down my PC and basically rebuild it all over again. And oh my God, the cable management, Mark. The cable management is so sexy. It like runs up the back and there's these little solid state drive slots that it hides them in the back so that way they're not flopping everywhere. It's so good, Mark. It's so good. Sorry.
You had a moment there.
Oh God, it's so sexy. So I've done this in real life, and I would be down to work on it for friends. But as far as a business goes, like dealing with that high of quantity and to where like I have to make a living doing this or whatever, I don't think I can handle that. I don't know. It's Yeah, but I love it though.
But it's
so
still the skills. That's
is.
one of the things. It's teaching the skills of managing an inventory, of fielding offers, basic economics, and it's things like that where I do see. And again, I might be coming at it from now an educational viewpoint, but I see the value in doing a game like that. It's business management 101 without the, paying thousands of dollars for the college course or whatever.
And it's extremely detailed too. I mean, like from everything, like, I'll boot up the PC. I'm like, wait, why is it saying it's overheating? Oh my God, I forgot to plug in the CPU fan. And it's just one tiny thing. You don't plug in the fan and then it goes, or you don't attach the fan and then it goes, hey, plug me in. Nothing pops up. It's just like, okay. And then you boot up the PC and it's like, it's overheating. Why? Oh, and then you have to like identify little problems like that. Yeah. It's so much fun. It's a great game. Anyways, shut up. What have you been playing,
doesn't
Chris?
even kind of sound fun at all.
It's so much fun to me. It shouldn't be fun.
I've just been playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. How far are you?
I mean, I'm just basically just exploring now. I'm trying to kill time with that until Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah. What about you, Brian?
I am going back to a little MMORPG, Dungeons and Dragons. It's Neverwinter. Rebooted a character on it because I had played a few years ago and now forgot completely how to do everything.
Is this the MMO?
Yeah.
Neverwinter? Okay. I tried it a little bit. It was...
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's just one of those where, figuring out a few of the powers. And again, when you get into something like that and it's so intricate and you don't play every day, I'm not going to be that person who's playing every day. So I just wanted to revert back to it, essentially play the game over, new character, find some things out. But, it's not terrible. So
I did just remember, and don't run away, okay? There is a game that if you're a fan of Persona games, okay? I know, Chris, I know. Just give me a second.
Just looking for something to jump off of.
There is a new game that just came out for the phone, for like Android. The phone, yeah.
The phone.
Really showing my age there.
Singular phone, ladies and gentlemen.
And oh god damn it, what's it called?
Content.
I know. Okay, well, there it is. If you like Persona, you should download it. It's free. It's a not a pay to win, but you can tell there's like 1,000 different microtransactions. You don't need them, but it's one of those kind of games. It's Shin Megami Tensei Liberation DX2. That's it. So there, enjoy it if you want to play that. Okay, that's it, Chris. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to mention that we're a video game podcast. We talk about Persona, and if somebody likes Persona, I want to inform them. That's our Persona. That's how we.
Persona, yeah.
Mark says phone singular. Yes,
Singular doesn't exist.
It comes
anymore,
for phone.
Oh, whammy!
It's
not singular anymore. Singular doesn't exist anymore. It's AT&T.
I like that.
I'm just catching everybody.
Remember when it was Bell South?
Mm-hmm. Oh wow! Remember when there were payphones?
There's occasionally you can still spot one. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to move on to video game 20 questions. This is where I picked a random video game, and these two chuckleheads are going to have 20 questions, 20 yes or no questions to figure out what game that is. And then after 10 questions, I'm going to go to chat, and I'm going to see if there's anything that you guys have asked in the chat that could possibly help them. So make sure you throw out all the questions that you can possibly think of that would be video game related to give them some help, and start.
And I cede the microphone to Chris.
Was the game released after January 1st, 2000?
No.
Is it an exclusive?
Shit. Yeah. I'm going to say no. Kind of no. Be careful.
So before January 1st, 2000, kind of an exclusive.
Kind of. Well, no. Kind of not an exclusive.
Kind of not an exclusive.
Yeah. But it is also kind of an exclusive.
I was right.
But kind of not, though. Not really. But I probably technically yes, but not really.
Was it Super Nintendo Genesis generation?
No.
Was it PlayStation 1 and 64 generation?
No.
NES?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of an exclusive, kind of not an exclusive.
Yeah. I will help you with that later if you start struggling on that. I'd say focus more on game, and if you're still struggling on that, I'll help you out with that a little bit.
You picked an older game so that I could play. Thank you.
Is it a platformer?
No. It is not a platformer. So Persona, let me tell you guys about Persona. Brian, you got anything?
I'm still.
Were there sequels?
So no, there was no sequels to this game. No.
That probably means there were spin-offs. Do we just want to see if it what else is on the NES generation? Just the NES?
The Mega Drive and Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
And arcade, potentially.
Do we want to narrow it down a bit? Just say, well, that doesn't completely narrow it down.
If the exclusive question is ambiguous, then that makes it more difficult.
Oh, that's right. So then my questions are relevant.
Is it a puzzle game?
No.
Not a platformer, not a puzzling game. Puzzle game. Could be a racer. Could be a sports game. Is it a sports game?
No. That's 9.
9.
Not
a platformer, not a
shouted that so many times on Friday.
Game. Not a puzzle game.
Still could be like a side scroller beat 'em up, or
is it a side scroller?
Yes. That's 10. Let me
side scrolling, but not platform.
Look away from chat. I'm going to pull this up and see if there's anything that will help you. Thunderhop was asking side scroller. And Thunderhop also says, I've never played Persona. Can you tell me about it? I would love to.
Let me ask you this. Would you consider, this is not one of the 20 questions, but would you consider Bad Dudes a platformer?
No, it's a
beat 'em up.
Side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, this is happening 2 weeks in a row now. We have a question that will absolutely help. It's from Thunderhop. Do you want to use it?
Sure.
yeah.
Is the franchise still alive today? Yes.
Oh.
Great question. Fantastic question.
Meaning they're actively still making games based off this franchise.
It could mean lots of different things. I will give you that, though. It can mean lots of different things.
I mean, so for example, it could be Ninja Turtles. That franchise is obviously still alive, but when was the last Ninja Turtles game? So that's where my confusion is. Is the franchise still alive in the video game? Just to expound upon his question, if I may.
Yeah.
To me, if the franchise is still alive, that is implying video game wise. So of course, the Harry Potter franchise is still alive, but when was the last Harry Potter game?
Sure.
So, is it still alive video game wise?
I might not. I would probably lean more towards no.
Okay.
It's a side scroller. It's still alive.
Is it a beat 'em up?
Yeah, that would
Yes.
Oh my.
If he's saying kind of an exclusive, kind of not, that leads me to believe that it was probably in the arcades as well as a console, like a Bad Dudes. Final Fight was later.
There was a Final Fight for the NES.
I don't think there was.
Mighty Final Fight. I have it. It's one of the rarest NES games. I'm actually looking to sell it if anybody wants.
I don't think he would pick Mighty Final Fight. That's really deep.
Although I've told him about it. That's the only reason.
His first Streets of Rage was on the Genesis.
I believe so.
So I feel like you uncovered something really big and you're not focusing on that at all.
That it's a beat 'em up, or that
Well,
the
no,
franchise
that
is
the
still
franchise
around?
is still around, but not video game wise.
Okay.
So I feel like you completely went past them. I feel like that's such a big hint. That's like so big.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Ninja Turtles, but I mean,
oh wait, he said, well, no, because he said not exclusive because okay, so let me think here.
when Ninja Turtles came out for the NES, that was an exclusive,
Right, and then the Ninja Turtles 2 game is the arcade game.
right? But I don't know that it was called Ninja Turtles 2. I think it was just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Arcade Game.
It might be, yeah.
So whether you call that a sequel or not,
Oh, that's right, because there's technically not sequels.
and then wasn't there a 3?
There
I thought-
was
I
the
thought there-
Manhattan Project.
Was that called 3?
Yes.
Okay, so I think Ninja Turtles is out. What?
I'd like to retract something I said earlier. There's a sequel to this game.
Okay. So do you play as a turtle?
Yep. There was a 3?
Yeah.
I had no idea there was a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it is called I mean, do you want to
Turtles.
okay,
Teenage
so
Mutant Ninja
I was going to give you guys full credit if you just said Ninja Turtles. You want to take a crack at the full title?
It would be the arcade game because...
Well, what would it be called?
Oh, no, wait. Well, Teenage...
Well, I mean, are you picking? Well, you typically.
I mean, you guys won, but like what is the full title just for funsies?
Well, I'm trying to think of which game you're picking. You're either picking the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES, or you're picking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game.
Okay, so actually you haven't guessed which one it is.
Right, that's my
Okay.
point.
Well,
Yeah.
to me, the one that's more of the side-scrolling beat-em-up is 2.
Yes,
Yeah, because 1 is more of a platform.
and that would be why it would be possibly exclusive, possibly not. Even though
Right.
I would say it was definitely exclusive in the arcade.
Okay, so I'll
when
just
it came out.
reveal.
So
It was that
the
one.
arcade game.
It was that one, but here's the thing: it is a port of the arcade game.
Right, it is.
But it's not an exact port, so it's not necessarily the same game. That's technically a different game.
Yeah.
I
It's
was
the
dead on with that
same.
Ninja Turtles.
You
guess.
were,
you were.
so early too. And the title is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2:
The Arcade Game.
and that was the one that came with the free coupon for free pizza.
Yep.
In the instructions,
Sweet.
I actually have that coupon somewhere, I think. And then look at that. Thunderhump said, "Is a TV show grounded?" Yeah. So everybody.
Yeah,
was-
because that's also why, and he also guessed Turtles in Time, but Turtles in Time is 4, and that's the first one.
Turtles
for
in
the-
Time was the shit.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it came out. in
Oh, Mark
1990.
Mayfield did Pizza Time. That's good.
1990 port of a 1989 arcade game, side-scrolling beat 'em up, and the arcade game was just called. Here's another reason why that was kind of weird. The arcade game was just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not even the arcade game.
Yeah.
It was just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, yeah, that was the tricky part of that. Anyways, that does it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening or whatever you were doing. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to your face. We have we do live recordings every Sunday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Facebook.com/DownRFierceGaming, YouTube.com/DownRFierceGaming, and Twitch.tv/DRF Podcasts. You can listen to our audio episodes every Monday or just really late on Sundays on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, and Stitcher. Make sure you, if you want, stop by our merchandise store. We sell t-shirts, including posters at teespring.com/DownRideFierce. Or you could just give us money because you're like, yo, my money is for you, and I'm going to put it in your, not wallet because it's not going to us. I'm going to put it in your podcast. That's what you're going to say.
I thought you were going to say pocket.
Pocket. No, it's definitely not going to pocket. It's going into things like this and all the lights and you can't see the lights, but it goes to help a lot. And plus you get all of our exclusive content 1 week before everybody else does, and that's pretty cool. And it also gets you thanked at the end of the episode. So we want to thank Mark Mayfield. Thank you very much, Mark Mayfield. I want to thank Quinn Noble. Thank you, Quinn Noble.
Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you, Tristan Haynes.
Thanks, Tristan.
Buddy.
Thank you, Tristan.
We also want to thank Brian Altano, Damon Hatfield, and MC Lars for letting us use their music. We want to thank our executive producers, Carolina Jarvis, Brian Kaminsky,
I do what I
Thank
can.
you.
and Andrew Face-Kicking Kirkendall. Oh, sorry, Andrew Kirkendall.
Face kicker.
There it is. Now we're going to go on to our new thing that we do at the end of the episodes. I asked my best friend, MC Lars. He's my best friend. Sorry, guys. It's my, we're buddies. I have his
That's
phone
fine.
number and everything.
It's like me and
we're
John
buddies.
Cena.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've never seen you two together though.
Yeah, it's funny.
Come on, I know that everybody's I can't see you, but I feel like that was Whatever. Anyways, I talked to him and I'm like, hey, we started playing music videos at the end of our episodes. Would you mind if I use yours? And he's like, yeah, I'd be honored. He actually used those words. He said, I'd be honored. And I'm honored that he's honored. So anyways, without further ado, this is going to be MC Lars, my favorite music video of his. I absolutely love this one. This is MC Lars, Annabelle Lee, R.I.P. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
We got EAP in the house tonight. America's most romantic love poet. We're taking this back, way back, 1849 style. Hip hop? Nah, this is lit hop. It was many and many a year ago, when a kingdom by the sea, it's true, that a maiden there lived, whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. But the angels got jealous, they took my queen. Now she's gone and I can barely sleep. But her mortality makes her high, all up in the malt shop, her favorite spot. I got so lost in her bright green eyes, so tell me why the love of my life had to die. So who's that? Who's that? Rapping at my door, Annabelle Lee, R.I.P. like the Nor, nevermore. Should've known that death would take her out. Red lipstick, kiss, and I'm lonely now. Tuberculosis, necrosis, I can't focus, and I hope this pain goes away. Cause all I see is her photo on the wall, smell the perfume on the sheets. We were so in love, even when she's gone. I'll be up in the graveyard singing her songs like Cemetery Woman, my cemetery girl, cemetery lady. I want you in my world. A child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love. See, I am my Annabelle Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. She was gone by dawn, should have known all along that we were never meant to be. Sadly, I gave her my heart, she gave me her flower, like Romeo and Juliet humping in the tower. Every single day, every single hour, Rumpy in the bedroom, Pumpy in the shower. So now I pack a shovel and I dig real deep. Take a crescent wrench, rip out all her teeth, put them in a box so she'll always be here with me. Let's see, probably need some therapy. The highborn kinsman stole her from me, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. That's death, I guess, there's nothing I can do. Like Ronnie and Sammy, our relationship is through. Now every single night, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, my wife and my bride. Now all I have left is poetry, memory, sorrow, and stress. Bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. The stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can never dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we. They said we were kids, but I know what love is. We were happy and young and so free. And so every night I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride. That's where she will always be, in her tune by the sounding sea.
Misanthrope.